Why, hello.
Hello.
Hello again. Hope everyone is doing great out there, and welcome to the live stream of episode 129. Gail, you ready?
Dude, I am stoked. You gave me homework. You did give
I
me
did.
homework earlier today. Last minute sprung it on me like a pop quiz. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't study. I didn't research at
Okay.
all, which was your request.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and thanks to the algorithm gods, I think I got the perfect answer. So
I hope so. And wouldn't be funny if it's the same one that we're doing today. You never know.
I
The same one of them.
I would love if it was.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Oh,
already. You
thank you.
ready?
Real
Mm-hmm.
quick. Thank you, Rochelle.
She got a new haircut. Your sister got a new haircut. Oh, you got a new haircut. Oh, doesn't it? Yeah, it does look good.
Yeah.
It's pretty fly
You can't tell. Thank you, sir. You can't tell
for a Gil
because I've
guy.
been wearing a
Mm-hmm.
beanie for about about 9 moons. 9 moons at this
Mm-hmm.
point, I'd say something like that.
I do believe that's 9 days. 9 days, maybe. Maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he doesn't ever takes it off, and he
They had to
does not.
surgically remove it from my head. I had to tip that barber a lot.
Yeah, it's
Um,
a big tip. All right, let's get into it for
just
this
the tip.
evening. All
All right.
Ringling Brothers, P.T. Barnum, traveling sideshows, circus oddities, clowns, elephants, bearded ladies, Tom Thumb, diving horses, the Elephant Man. Circus and carnival sideshows lit up the nights in the eyes of onlookers as they passed by. People couldn't get enough of these traveling oddities in the golden age of circus. Claws like a lobster, heads so mutilated you'd say they didn't even have one at all, and genetic conditions so pronounced they're called another species. Yet these people and animals live lives that some of us didn't even dare to dream of. They were inevitable rock stars of their generations and lived the touring life. Hendrix, Page, Dylan, Joplin, Cobain couldn't hold a candle to some of their stories because today we're going to delve into the lives of carnival and circus sideshows. Hello, all, and welcome to the Black Cat Report in episode 100. Get it? 129. Mm-hmm. He doesn't even have that many fingers. I am Joey, and with me is the Ohio originator, the Dayton delicatessen, the Cincinnati curator, the Akron apothecary, the Sandusky scriber, the Youngstown yachtsman, and last but not least, the damn it. And last but not least, the Toledo and last but not least, the Toledo Torpedo Gill.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello.
Hmm. That was your nickname in high school, I believe. Toledo Torpedo.
Amongst others. Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel like my official nickname was Mr. Gilbert Bentley. Could you please report to the principal's office? That was closer to my nickname.
Yeah, but that was the
Yeah.
adults, what they called you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
The
before we get
ladies
into
called
today's
me
episode, Toledo Torpedo.
Silence. They didn't call me.
Oh, they called you. Oh, oh wow. Wow. That happened. Well, it did. It didn't actually happen. None of it happened because they just didn't call.
And so the ladies
Well,
the ladies called me.
hmm
Sorry.
Crickets. That was his nickname, Cricket. Before we get into today's episode, we want to let you know that you can follow us on patreon.com/Black Cat Report and get some awesome cool things too. When you join, we give you a free upgrade to our librarian level. Is that correct, Gil? We usually give everybody a free upgrade to librarian level.
Something. We'll give you
Yeah,
something.
something. We give you an upgrade to something. Well, you can get some of our lost episodes that are on there because we have a few lost episodes that we just never aired that were pretty good episodes. We just didn't have a time to put them out there and didn't didn't have a follow through on it. We just were like, we recorded them, we put them out, and we're just like, oh, we were about to put them out, and we're like, we got other stuff we can do. So good
Yeah.
episodes, just didn't put them out. There's also Cup of Joey, which will, you know, coming out next weekend, next Sunday, this Sunday,
Yeah.
April, May 3rd. I always get the months wrong. May 3rd, Cup of Joey is coming out. Or May 4th. Sorry. Let me restart all of this.
And please do.
Yeah. You can get some of our lost episodes that we've never released there. And, we just never released them because we just did something better. They're good episodes. They're just on there ready for you to listen to. You can also get Cup of Joey, which is also coming out on May 4th at 10 a.m. So you'll get a chance. We also do game nights live, which me and Gil, we had to cut from last week, but for no reason. For no reason. But it just happened. You
This
can
happened.
also, yeah, go ahead.
You can also catch all the fun updates for all the things that we're doing, anything that we can get involved in. Multiple look, hey, we're in desperate need of subscribers. I'm gonna be honest with you. While we do have a
Hmm.
lot, we're greedy and we want more. Um,
Always more.
so if you work for the NSA, for the
Hmm.
CIA, the FBI, pretty much the only one we don't want is the IRS. Any other three-letter
Yeah, stay away.
agency,
They can stay away from me.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
we got you. Join up, have fun. Um, we constantly have a lot of content coming out. I don't want to make
Hmm.
this too long of an intro, but I will say that if you are joining us on Friday during the YouTube premiere of this
Hmm.
episode, don't be bashful. Don't be shy. Join us tomorrow, Saturday, May the I don't know, that
Third.
third,
May the
something like
3rd.
that.
May the
May
3rd.
the third, for Beer Booze and Boogeyman, which the link will be in the show notes.
7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 8:30 Central. 9:30. Well, no. Sorry. God, what am I doing? 7:30 p.m. Eastern. 6:30 p.m. Central. 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and 4:30 Pacific Time. So yeah, just keep going back, and then we don't accept any of the other farther back. If you have to do it yourself, you have to do it yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the episode for Beer Booze and Boogeyman is called Deathbed Confessions, and we got some awesome ones, and we're excited about this episode. Gil, can you tell them how they can be a part of that episode?
Yeah, it's super easy. Go to ghost.beer. That's GHOST.BEER. Once you're there, you have a plethora of options, but one of the main ones that we would love if you did is hop on down, scroll down the page just a tittle bit, just a titty bit. Scroll down the page and click on the submission option. Once you're there, you can submit a form. You can submit a voice message. You can send us an email. You can link to a Google Doc. All right. I even have the option for carrier pigeon. It's pending right now. I'm trying to bring them back from extinction, but I'm
We're
working
training them.
on
We're
it.
trying
We
to.
will have that. Yeah, we will have that option soon. And the goal of this month's episode, or next month's, whatever, is any crazy shit you've heard someone confess, or you heard of someone confess on their deathbed. Anything, anything
Mhm.
goes. And all of our submission options, even technically email, um, anonymous. You can submit it completely anonymous, and one of us
Yep.
will read it on the air. So make it crazy, make it dirty,
Hmm.
make it that juicy shit.
It's that
We'd love it.
gamool, you know. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Deathbed Confessions, and the month afterwards, I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do, but we'll announce it there. Be there Saturday, please.
Hmm.
It'll
Yeah.
be fun.
Right before we start getting into this episode, I do want to show off this amazing award I was given. I won from Gil and Copy Kitty as well. I think they both helped in getting this award. This is from doing graduating from a F3 episode arc that we did. As you can see, the name Joey Francis Scott Bacon Lee, which is my full name, for outstanding achievements in Pirates, Postal Services, Moon Truth, and Goat Ball Surgery. So I really appreciate this. And once I get somewhere to put it behind me, it'll be up on the board. So it's a little goat you can see. So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are the best. Thank you, Gil. Thank you, everybody, for that. I will cherish
Well
it with
earned.
my life. But now we're going to get into other interesting oddities of history this week as we're going to delve into the weird traveling sideshows, the circus of oddities, so to speak. I came across some of these trolling Reddit posts, and this got me excited because we had just finished a few weeks of heavy and intensive research weeks from Ronald True to John R. Brinkley. This was a light and fun little air before Gil and I get into delving into some more heavy research topics. And once I tell you the name of the first one, I'm going to tell you how I found the first Reddit post and how I got into doing this. So, I just want to tell you the name of the first one. So, our first little sideshow for this week will be the cuddly and cute Mike the Headless Chicken. And I want to tell you how I found this. So, I was trolling, Reddit posts as I was going down, as I was scrolling down, it's a bunch of history. It's a bunch of like this battle was crazy, this person was crazy. Do you see this? And then it was literally one sentence, and it said, "Mike the Headless Chicken." And that stopped me in my tracks. And just like you, if you know me, when I look at stuff, I'm like, "That's it. I got to do that. I got to find that." So I googled it, and I'm going to tell you the story.
Yes.
Well, on September 10th, 1945, a farmer named Lloyd Olson of Fruita, Colorado, was getting prepared to eat supper with his mother in law and his wife. His wife sent him out to choose a chicken so that they could get it ready for eating. Olson chose a really young 5.5-month-old Wyandotte chicken named Mike. The Wyandotte chicken originally was called the American Sea Bright chicken, but was changed a little later on because I just found a better name for it, and it had a lot of uses. The chicken itself was raised for natural brown eggs and yellow skinned meat. It was also used for chicken shows. And I sent a YouTube video to Gil earlier about what I'm researching and how to judge chicken shows. And I found some interesting stuff. I just want to share this real quick with you. So, in the chicken world, you're looking for three chickens in a cage, right? So, that's the first judge of it, right? So, there's going to be one male, it's going to be like a rooster, and there's going to be two hens, two females. And the judging, which is, the patriarchy knows no bounds, the male brings in 50% of the judging points, and the females each split 25% of the judging points. So you get the male, the rooster, 50%, 25 each. And so that equals 100%. So a lot of what they're doing is they're just picking up the chicken, they're looking at the breastbones, they're looking at it, making sure there's no like cuts, there's no little like little worms or anything in there to make it like look bad. And so what I found is that it's chicken shows are just for mostly kids. and it's mostly 4-H chicken shows. I also saw some that were trying to sell chickens, but it was just mostly for kids. So I lost interest after a little bit. But that's what I learned for you guys. So now you know as much as I know. And once, this gets, bigger, this is just going to grow bigger and it's going to be chicken shows added to it. So I'm just going to inscribe some of these. Well, Gil, now that you know how to judge a poultry show, we're going to get back into it. Lloyd chose Mike, grabbed Mike, the little chicken, and he set it up to be slaughtered. Yeah, little chicken, little chicken. He didn't kiss him though. He was ready. He was hungry. He was salivating a little bit. He was like, He set him up to be slaughtered so that they could all have it for dinner. Lloyd brought down the axe right down on Mike's head, but incorrectly brought it down at the wrong angle. And instead of removing the whole head, he removed most of the bulk of the head, but he missed the jugular vein. He also left one ear and most of the brain stem intact. So the brain signals could still be sent from the brain to the body. And yeah, exactly. The chicken's brains, just so you guys know too, so you can understand, are actually located right in the back of their head behind the eyes. So the axe just barely missed everything. And he missed the thing that controlled breathing, digestion, and the other bodily functions. Well, instead of finishing the job, which most farmers would do and just be like, let's put this thing out of its misery, and then cooking Mike for dinner, Lloyd decided that he would let Mike live. He put Mike down, saw that Mike could still walk, albeit very, very, very clumsily, almost like a very drunk college student after Thirsty Thursday and all you can drink margaritas. But Mike could still walk. Walk is a relative term. Well, Mike
Mike,
still,
the headless
yeah,
chicken,
can
can
Mike,
can walk, but or wait, we'll work on the lyrics. We'll work on the
yeah,
lyrics.
we'll get a song going.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Had him,
Mike's,
lost him.
yeah, it's all good. Well, Mike still attempted to preen his feathers, peck for some food, and crow, make a nice little. But honestly, the crow that he would let out would be a mixture of a gurgling sound made in his throat and a little. Yeah, yeah, literally, without it couldn't even bark anymore, but gurgled, almost like a Chewbacca chicken. Oh, it's a mixture of Chewbacca and chicken.
This is a vegan episode.
It is a big A. If you want to know how the sausage gets made, this is what happens. Well, because Mike couldn't really swallow large food or anything solid due to pretty much the
Okay.
whole head being gone,
Yeah.
Lloyd took his time feeding him a mixture of milk and water in an eyedropper and specifically picked out very miniature grains of corn and worms to feed to him.
I'm making judgments about him and his wife, like him and his wife's sexual life. This dude had way too much time on his hands, and he was just like, "Well, I guess I'll just meticulously feed this headless chicken, because Lord knows I'm not getting laid tonight."
You know what it also tells me too is that
Mm,
they might have had like a chicken, like their kids. Either they couldn't have kids, which it did never mention that they have kids, or that they like,
yeah.
or that their kids like flew the nest, flew the coop,
Mm,
so to speak.
makes sense.
You know.
Yeah,
hmm
that tracks.
Yeah. Well, Mike pretty much lived on for a good while, and Lloyd, after telling his friends about this chicken, decided that people would definitely pay money to see this. So he decided he's going to go to a few poultry shows. He took him on a few poultry shows. Everybody loved him. Was like, dude,
Hmm.
does that chicken have no head?
Headless fucking chicken. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a circumcised cock right there. That's a big deal at this time in history.
yeah, yeah. It's just a little bit of deal, little bit less of a deal though.
Yeah.
Well, Mike and Lloyd started going on a career of touring sideshows on October 22nd of 1945, which was only a month and a half after Mike's beheading, which I would say was a career-defining move any actor would do if that would get them into a Marvel movie. They would behead themselves.
I've done more. I've done more for less. Let me put it that
hmm
way.
hmm Time magazine came and photographed Mike and featured him in an article, which actually you can read if you want to go online today and read the article about Mike. Oh,
Could you imagine
after that,
Mike's Instagram account these days? Just like,
it would
I'm
be
just feeding my
huge.
chicken. It's just like a straw, and he's just shoving it down his little chicken throat.
hmm
Mm,
People would make a lot of inappropriate jokes about that
yeah,
nowadays. It would not be good.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I
I'd,
mean,
I'd,
it is
I'd,
what
wa-
it
I
is.
would watch it. I'd follow. I'd follow.
I would follow too. Mike the Headless Chicken, done.
Yeah.
TV show, and it would get a HGTV show just being like, Mike, what do you think about
Mike,
this
the
new
headless
house?
chicken,
Yeah,
sure as hell can't see. He
yeah.
bucks around and bucks, and we all are scared of he. Mike,
Mike,
headless
the headless chicken.
chicken.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say he lives by the sea, but he doesn't. He's like in the Midwest somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he could swim. He could swim without a head.
Yeah, I guess so. Would probably just be more floating, but
Yeah. I mean, a cock's natural habitat is somewhere wet. This makes sense.
yeah. Well, after that, after they went touring for a little bit and Time Magazine took them under their wing, Mike and Lloyd, the dynamic duo, went to Long Beach, California to perform in front of the
Oh,
returning
shit.
troops from the Pacific.
Oh, shit.
He was entertaining the
Yes.
troops on an what is it? The USO tours.
Yeah. Mike, the headless chicken visits the sea. I love
He
it.
did get to the
This
sea. Yeah, he finally
this
got to the
needs to
sea.
be a song.
We'll make it afterwards. Well, it was rumored that Mike was part of the riots that the troops did after the war ended.
Hold on, what?
I just made that
What
up.
the
That was actually a
what the
joke.
fuck did you say?
But he was close. He was there in time for the riots, though. Of
It's
in when they rioted in San Francisco and they went crazy in California after the war, raping people and doing crazy stuff. He was in
yeah.
that area of the world at that time. So I'm not saying it didn't happen.
I'm not gonna say he's related to Herbert, the time traveling chicken. But it's adding up. I'm just saying.
It is adding up.
It,
It's
it's
getting
it
close.
sounds like it could be. It sounds like it could be Herbert, who is Count the Count of Saint Germain's best friend, time traveling
Hmm.
buddy. His best friend is time traveling his cousin. I guess because that's the only
Yeah,
thing that really tracks here is
yeah.
like
A cousin would have to be
you
time
know
traveling.
yeah
Hmm. It tracks. It tracks.
yeah it tracks
Yeah.
tracks.
Well, to see Mike, you would have to pay 25 cents at the time in 1945, or what would be about $4 a ticket today. So he's hitting pretty
Still
good
worth
for
it.
a literal headless chicken. It's pretty cheap to see him at his peak beak. Mike was actually worth $10,000 in those days, which is now $140,000 today. So a chicken
Ooh,
worth $140,000.
that's an
Mike
expensive
was
cock.
hitting it hard, and people were flocking to see him. Up to 600 people per day. I'm just going to keep rolling through these puns, by the way.
Please keep going.
Now, in what seems like an otherworldly way, Mike continued growing throughout this time because remember, when his head was cut off, he was only 2.5 months old when he was beheaded. And chickens grow
Mm.
up until they hit the 1 year mark and become full adults. So he's just slowly getting bigger with no head. So it's just like it just gets bigger. So I don't know how to like even say
He's a
how that
grower,
does
not a
anything.
shower, is
Yeah,
what you're
he's a
trying
grower.
to say.
Yes. Yes. Now, Mike was touring other places such as Arizona and Nevada as well, just hitting that whole West Coast. Well, just as his head was cut off, just so hmm, read that wrong. Well, just as his head was cut off just short, so was its life. At 2 years old, Mike would die. So sad. In March 1947, at a motel in Phoenix, Arizona. Not
He
kidding.
overdosed
Mike
on fentanyl after.
Mike would gargle his last balk. After a long day of performing, Mike wanted to settle down and rest with some chicks and cluckamine. Well, unfortunately, just like Jimi Hendrix, Mike started choking on his mucus in the middle of the night in the hotel room. And Lloyd had left the syringe they used to take out the mucus from Mike's throat at the chicken show that day. And Mike choked to death as Lloyd and his wife looked on, just like Hendrix.
He was in the 27-month club. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, actually. Well, now there was some contention on the story at the end because Lloyd had told people at that time that he sold Mike to another promoter, but he was trying to keep it so that promoter can use that and get money for it because he was worth a lot.
Yeah.
But later on, Lloyd himself admitted that the chicken did pass in that hotel room in 1947. Now, that's not the end for old Mike, because every year in Fruita, Colorado, they have Mike the Headless Chicken Weekend, complete with a 5K called Run Like a Headless Chicken Race. They have egg tosses, a chicken cluck off, chicken bingo. This happens every year in the third or fourth weekend in May, and it is happening this year on May 30th and 31st. So if you are near Fruita, Colorado, please go do it and send us pictures at contact@blackhat.report.
Can we put links and just full on support this in the
Oh
show
yeah, yep,
notes?
yes we will.
Like I
Yes we
want
will.
to support this.
I
Needs
have the
to
link to the thing.
continue into history.
Mhm.
I would say it needs to continue into like obscurity, but it's way it's way far
No, it
past that.
needs to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was obscure the first year. I want to know
Hmm.
how did they pitch that to the mayor at the time? There's like, I know we're here to talk about the new water filtration system that's being installed on 37th Avenue, which I am a resident of, as you know from last week when we talked about blue algae, all right, and its incredible health benefits. Uh, now, came across a little bit of history. Now, I know this cock ain't from here, all right? It's a little bit of cock history. Cock history is what I'm trying to say. I know this cock ain't from here, but some cocks are legendary, and they're just like the whole city council is just sitting there, just tuned in. They're like, sir, please, we are actually trying to figure out how to cut down on giardia infestations throughout the city. 14 children have died. If you want to talk about children, you need to talk about cocks. Everybody knows that. And he's just like sitting there struggling
Oh, he's
with his
bobbing.
mic
He's
the
bobbing
whole
and
time.
weaving. Hmm.
Yeah, no, he's bobbing and weaving.
He's like, you
Like
can't
he's
hit
those,
me. Yeah, yeah.
you know, and just I just got a new mic stand, so I'm
He's
enjoying the
loving it.
flow.
Gil's
Um,
loving it. Yeah, yeah.
that look at
He's
that
Muhammad
whole
Ali in
position,
it right now.
sturdy,
Hmm.
stiff, perfect.
His
Now,
mic
um,
is floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee.
yeah, that's right. I don't have anywhere to go with that. I really do want to picture just that. Now, I heard tale about this headless cock, and the guy refused to call it a chicken. He's like, I
Hmm.
heard tale about a headless
As you
cock
would.
from
Yeah.
this area. Now, the children need something to inspire them to
Hmm.
stay in our beautiful city of Frutilia. Um, which I'm just gonna
Yes.
make up the name. Um,
Yes, that's exactly what it's called.
I, this joke's going nowhere. Joey, have fun editing it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I love it. No, you know what? Fruta
Cut
and
the whole
funny.
thing out. Make that
No,
funny. You got
no.
this
What's
fun. No,
funny is that
don't
you
leave
are
the whole thing.
correct that that it is a like very farming county in Colorado. Fruta
Yeah,
is a very
I thought it was
farming
California.
area. Fruta, Colorado. Sir.
Why the
He went
fuck
to
would you
California.
name?
He went to Long Beach.
Why would? Is there any fruit besides tomatoes in
Yes.
Colorado?
Yeah. Apples. A lot of
What
apples,
fruit
right?
in Colorado?
I think they have a lot of apple trees over there, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm,
I might be
we'll
making
get
this
this.
up, but I don't care. I
We'll,
don't care.
we'll we'll get this. We'll get this in edits. We'll get this in post show.
Oh, it's all
I'm
standing. I don't know.
Well,
Might
I
be
don't.
standing.
Has Colorado been a state long? Like, has it been around long enough? Have white people taken over Colorado long enough to really have like producing
Oh
orchards
yeah.
like that? Like,
Oh
that's
yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Oh
don't
yeah. You
know.
been to Vale? You been to Vale? You been to
I've been to
Boulder?
Colorado.
Yeah. You been to Vale and Boulder? White people have taken over those two places
Yeah,
way
but
long ago.
we're gonna go on a long Apple rant. Look, I am from. All right.
Not the
Speaking of
company.
the Toledo tornado. All right. This is my
Toledo
legacy
torpedo.
here. Toledo torpedo, which is what people from outside of Toledo call it. But I am from. It's like the second or third. largest apple producer in the entirety of the United States is McQueen Apples Orchard, which is exactly 1 mile from my childhood home. So I know apples. All right, don't. You want
I'm
an
not
apple
arguing with
fight?
you about
You want an
apples.
apple fight, boy? You want to? I'm ready.
Well, let's
Ready.
do it.
I'm ready to
What's your
apple
apple?
fight.
What's your chosen apple?
Oh, Fiji, dude. Obviously, cold
You know
Fiji.
what? It's it's just like us to have the same color apple, the same
Mm-hmm.
style apple, but different
Mm-hmm.
actual apple. I'm a Granny
If
Smith
you say
person.
Granny Smith, I'm driving to your
I'm a
house.
Granny Smith. You were what? You were what?
You gotta go.
This is over. I'm going to. We're
Fuck.
meeting in the middle.
As long as you don't say Red Delicious, we're okay. We can
No, I
still be
hate Red
friends.
Delicious. God, they're the
Everybody
worst apple.
does.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why they make it.
Wax apples taste better than Red Delicious. Fuck that.
Correct.
That apple strain needs to go extinct. Everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, that's specifically for our Patreon listeners. So, alrighty.
Yeah.
Now,
Gill's apple genocide.
the apple genocide. Yeah. Well, now for our second sideshow performer, this is actually a very, very, very long story. But Gil, before I get into this, because it was a long story, I
Yeah.
want you to tell me what your favorite sideshow performer
Horse
was. I remember
diving.
we talked about that. The horse divers. Yeah, the horse
Horse
divers.
diving. Horse diving, which
Why?
I'm still kind of pissed at PETA. Again, this is a vegan episode. I'm still
Mm-hmm.
kind of pissed at PETA because in 2012 they tried to bring back professional horse diving, and by they, I mean the resistance. They tried to bring
Circus de Resistance.
Circus de la Resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But they tried to bring back horse diving as a professional sport. We're talking,
Mm-hmm.
just like the most sketchy. Like you've been to circuses. It's
Yeah,
I mean
it's sketchy.
the
Everything's
food,
sketchy
let
about it.
alone the stands. Everything about a circus is the illusion. Your
Oh
safety
yeah.
is an illusion. Your intestinal biome an
Is an
illusion.
illusion. Yep.
Everything is being penetrated by reality.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. And there's no secure games. There's
Mm-hmm.
that's not fucking plexiglass. That ain't gonna fucking save you, homie. That
Yep.
shit is that's just made of a bunch of fucking melted like book packaging from Amazon book orders. Like that
Yeah.
glass separating you and the
That.
elephant, that shit's
Nope.
fake. Lick it.
Yep.
Lick it. It's old cotton candy.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. It's dangerous as fucking shit. That
Mm-hmm.
clown, I'm not gonna say he's a pedophile, but he used to be a priest. So be careful,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
He was a
um,
priestophile. Yep.
yes, and so they would set up this would be along piers,
Mm-hmm.
bodies of water, so to say, and they would set up this large scaffolding, real
Mm-hmm.
secure, real,
Yeah. Oh,
real
yes.
secure,
Yes.
and somehow get a full grown fucking horse. And for folks who haven't stood next to a full grown fucking horse, um,
Mm-hmm.
go outside and touch grass. I don't know what the fuck to
It's
tell you.
scary.
Anyways,
It's
go find it.
scary.
They're huge. And we're
They're
not even talking
huge
like
and strong.
Clydesdale huge. They're just
Mm-hmm.
like boom. Um, but anyways, they would get these horses 45, 55, sometimes 65, 75 feet up in the air. Like
Mm-hmm.
picture a cardboard building. That's what it looks like
Mm-hmm.
painted. And then there'd be a dude up there. And they just found this dude on the street. Um
Oh yeah. 100%.
and they'd be like, "All right, we'll give you a bag of popcorn if you jump off this fucking scaffolding with a full-grown horse into a shallow body of water." And
Yes.
that is the entertainment. And it's as awkward as you'd picture. It's just it does nothing about it looks comfortable, Joey. If you can find a clip of horse diving and put it
I
in
will
here,
one day.
please
I
put
will
it.
one day.
It's
Yeah.
just like like if you've ever ridden a horse, your nuts hurt and your vajayjay, whatever wiggle bits you got, they hurt after
Mm-hmm.
riding a horse. You really got to build up a tolerance to that. I can't imagine the pangs you will have after diving with a fucking. But anyways, splash and just into the water, and everybody's just like, the most magnificent everything. Jesus came back after 3 days, but he didn't dive with a horse. That's what I'm saying.
You know, that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
That horse dived for my sins. All right.
I honestly have no idea how they
It's
thought of
fantastic.
that. I know it's fantastic, but like
Just
who in their right probably wasn't in the right mind. Who was like looking up like
running
at a
from
high dive
gambling
and was
debt.
like, yeah, gambling
Somebody was,
debt, yeah.
yeah, Crab Boy was running from gambling debt against the bearded woman and just fucking dived. And Barnum and Bailey was sitting there like, you know what? I got another idea. Just,
Mm-hmm.
like,
Old
just
PT
eating
Barnum.
popcorn at the pier, just
Mm-hmm.
watching them. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. I also love
Yeah.
to picture Crab Boy just on a horse, like, and he's
You
like,
know,
well, at least he went back home to the water.
yeah. And you know, it's funny that you should say Crab Boy because the next one is going to be probably my favorite story that I read. This one is about Grady Stiles Jr., which is his real name. Grady Stiles Jr. was born on June 26th, 1937, with a genetic condition called ectrodactyly, or like a cleft hand or split hand. The split in the hand was caused by a missing middle digits. So, it, in essence, looked like a lobster claw like hand. As Gil is definitely mirroring it right now. The syndrome itself is commonly referred to as lobster claw syndrome, just like you were talking about. Instead of the crab, just the lobster claw. And Grady, it was so severe that it also encompassed his feet too, so he was not able to walk. Exactly, Gil. Gil's definitely miming it, and he can say this because this guy was a piece of shit. So
Glad I clipped my toenails today. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. In fact, his family had a history of the genetic condition. Grady's father also had this genetic condition, and two of Grady's children had this condition as well. And due to this condition, Grady was forced to use a wheelchair for his entire life. And it was said that that is what made him so freakishly strong, is that he was using the wheelchair and he had to use, as much as he could his upper body to get him where he needed to go.
Please tell me. Please tell me that the rims on the wheelchair were bent so he can only zigzag. Just
I have
coming.
I don't think so. I think it was just a normal wheelchair because it's what they
Oh,
could afford at the time.
I could never work in a circus with like a freak show because I'll just be fucking with people so much.
You would be fun.
Could you
You know
imagine?
what? And they don't care.
Just like the crab or lobster, whatever. I'm just gonna say crab because it's funnier. Just like
Yep.
crab boy, and he's like trying to come towards you, but the wheelchair just
But yeah, it only
zigzags like
goes
a
side to
crab.
side.
I'm gonna get you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Almost.
Great
Well,
visuals. Great
yeah, yeah.
visuals.
Thank you for you know what, Gil? That's what we pay the big bucks for, the visuals. We do. Mm-hmm. Well, Grady's father was basically a traveling sideshow performer already before because he had the same condition. He just wasn't
Mm.
as well known. So the whole entire Grady family blood was in the circus. Grady
Mhm.
joined his father at a very, very, very young age. At about 7 years old, he started performing. So super young. For what I would call some of the golden age of circusry, he toured around with his father, being a marvel of seeing eyes of the United States, and he took on the moniker of Lobster Boy and would eclipse his father's fame. Now, his sideshow was pretty much him pulling himself up onto the stage and sitting on top of a cushion inside a probably sweltering tent in the summer into fall.
That's the definition of demeaning. That's pretty. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in his defense, he would famously start out with his show as saying, Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am the lobster boy. This condition is not caused by drugs or diseases. It runs in the family. He just, right, just throw it out there.
Lobster
What are they going
bride.
to do? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he gained such notoriety throughout this time that he was pulling in between $50,000 and $80,000 a season. And this is in
Damn.
1950.
That's 1950 money.
Yeah, it's 1950 money.
I would do some real nasty shit for that much money back then. I'd do that
Mm-hmm.
much for now. You know what I'm saying? But like,
Yeah, yeah.
bro, that's a lot of. That's like over 50,000.
I mean, it's probably in the 300 to 400,000 if we want to think of it, because they were charging
Oh,
the
easily.
chicken 25 cents and it was
Is
$4. So
this pre-Trump or post-Trump? You know what I'm saying?
I
Because
would
that really affects prices. You know?
1950s. I guess I'm gonna say it's
Is this a few months ago
just
or right now?
a
Where
little bit of
where,
pre-Trump, a little bit of
where are we
pre-Trump,
at?
a tiny bit. Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a lot for a carnival sideshow act. 50 to 80K. It's
Damn.
way more than I
I'd
make
be a
right now.
lobster for that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I'm with
exactly.
you, buddy.
Well, over the years of touring the country, Grady eventually lost all of his hair. And I don't know why I thought that's so funny, but I
And
just
looked
feel
more
bad
like a
because
lobster.
he's turning more into a lobster. So
I mean, you
it's
know,
fine. It's truth. And because he brought it on himself by doing stuff he did later, and he named himself. And because of having to use his wheelchair, he became very barrel chested. So he just like got, like we were saying earlier, he got like buff. He was like
yeah,
big, heavy. And he eventually married a woman named Mary Teresa in 1958, and they had two children together, Donna and Kathy. Kathy was born with the same genetic condition as her father. Well, Mary Teresa eventually had to run away from her abusive home when she was young, and that's how she joined the carnival when she was in her teenage years. And
yeah,
through the early years of their marriage, Mary Teresa said that Grady, the lobster boy, was a kind and loving man, being a nurturer for the kids. And then came along heavy drinking, right? Some people go
terrible.
crazy, some people don't. She said he was partial to Seagram's Seven Doubles with the splash of Coke. And
Oh,
that's a
okay.
terrible drink. Yeah, that's a terrible drink.
Look, there's drinkers, there's heavy drinkers, and there's other folks out there. We all know about those other folks.
Mm-hmm.
But Seagram's drinkers,
This is the worst.
I just,
It's not good.
if
It's
if
not
you
good.
only drank, yeah, like if you only drank Keystone Light, you might still have some redeeming factors, some
Yeah.
redeeming
Yeah.
qualities. Your
Yeah.
quality might be found somewhere else besides the quality of your beer.
Your drink. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Seagram's drinkers, dude, like I think the most desperate I've ever been my entire life. And and you were there.
Mm-hmm.
During Hurricane Helene, my landlord actually, because we were all just kind of checking in on each other, we're all neighbors and shit. Um, you know, he gave me a bunch of alcohol. He doesn't drink, but he just had a bunch and he's like, fuck it. And I'm gonna be out. You were here. It was like 10:30, 9:30 a.m. and the days afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the city was plastered.
Yeah. All
Because
we
by the
had to
second
drink.
and third
Yeah.
yeah, the second and third day, all we had was alcohol left. And so it was like 10:30 in the morning, and we are just
Yep.
like,
No
fucking
water.
whatever, man. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's I broke down and I drank like Seagram, like coolers or something like that.
You were crying
And
too. I saw it. I would.
yeah, I was crying. I was crying. Well, I had to flavor it with something, and so I flavored it with my tears,
With your
my
tears.
shame.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
your
Seagram
tears.
shame. And I'm gonna be honest. Out of everything that happened, that was probably the biggest tragedy. Me drinking
Yeah, I would
Seagrams.
say. Yeah, that
Out of
would be it.
all of the catastrophe, it was Seagrams. Some of us had to
Mm-hmm.
resort to Seagrams. That's how bad it was.
That was a great way to
I'm not
describe it.
going
Your
anywhere.
Seagram shame.
Th- th-
Yeah, your
I'm not
Seagram
going
shame. That was
anywhere with
the
this.
best way.
Yeah,
Well, just like the shame from
I need therapy for
Seagram's,
this. Yeah, yeah.
yes, Grady should have felt a lot of shame because after years of abuse to Mary Teresa and the
It's
kids,
like
like
Michelob
physical and
Ultra.
sexual
Yeah.
abuse to the kids, well, to not
Mhm.
to, excuse me, let me replace that. After years of physical abuse and sexual abuse to Mary Teresa and just physical abuse to the
Jesus Christ.
kids, they were divorced in 1973. Mary Teresa eventually remarried a man named Harry Glenn Newman, who was billed as the world's smallest man. So she left the lobster boy and for the world's smallest man. You got a joke? You got a joke there, Go? You got one coming in the shotgun there?
I got nothing. I have nothing to add.
Well, funnily enough, Grady
Oh,
actually took charge of the children. He took the children to his hometown in Pittsburgh. She didn't even get to keep the children, which is crazy. Yeah. He put them in his claws and walked away. And there, he married a woman named Barbara. It didn't give us details on what her first, her maiden name was, but
ah, bro, the human barbecue.
I actually don't know if she was part of the circus, which is funny. I think she was the
Most
just outside of
high-paying
it.
fashion model of the era, probably.
Mm,
Um,
yes, one of the hottest. Well, this marriage ran the
she likes
same.
lobster.
Yeah, you know what? Some some women like crab, some women like lobster. Well, this marriage ran the same as his last marriage, as he was highly abusive to his children and new wife. And in 1978, 5 years after they had moved to Pittsburgh, his daughter, Donna, fell in love with a young man, and they were engaged to marry, right?
Mhm.
Now, there was some contention on how the next part of this went down because this is very important for this whole story. And I almost thought of making this story, just this guy's story, into a full episode, but it just
Mhm.
wasn't enough. Well,
Gotcha.
I think this is most likely what happened between the two sides. On the day before the wedding, Donna fell in love with this man. They were about to get married. Grady invited Donna's fiance over to the house to basically, in essence, give his blessing, maybe have a good natured chat with him, right? Just, give him a little claw. Well, I imagine there was some words said about how Grady did not really approve of him because Grady didn't really approve of him. He thought he was just a no good person. He didn't think he was right for Donna, and Grady was very,
Mhm.
very protective. Well, in the heat of the moment, Grady took out a shotgun and blew away the fiance, killing him.
How
Yes, yes,
does,
yes. It's in the court documents.
anatomically speaking, how how does one operate a shotgun when you're shaped lobster appendages, Joey?
I think like
Do you
this.
like put the small part of the lobster claw into the and you
Yeah, I think
pull
so.
it, or like,
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what
okay,
happened. And he like held it over like this. Boom,
it might have been like a
boom, twice.
boomstick. It might have just been
Yeah,
like a single shot in the pipe
it
and just
it was
bow,
two
you know.
shots, two shots. So
Oh, so we got
double
the double
double
barrel
barrel
out there.
probably. Yeah, double
Double
barrel.
barrel. Double
Mm-hmm.
barrel.
Yep. You will
Okay.
have to watch this episode to understand what some of the stuff is going on in the background. Well, Donna said in the court documents that her father afterwards, after he had shot her fiance, was sitting on the porch on a chair smiling and then said, I told you I would kill him. Now, he just said, he was like, I told you. And she, so, yeah. Now, Grady
Lobster boy don't give a
actually
fuck.
admitted to this in court point blank. He admitted that he shot him and killed him.
Damn.
No remorse. Just said it in court. And they were just
Damn.
like, okay. Like
Yeah.
we were thinking he was gonna have to go to trial
Why
for a
did
lot
you
longer.
plead not guilty and take this to trial? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and then testified and then told
I
us
wanted more
you
people
did
to
it.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, really big twist in this story. probably the third twist in this story, and there's more
Mhm.
coming. The only thing was, right, the prison system was not designed to handle someone with his genetic condition. Exactly. They were not. He also, after this, because of the Seagram Sevens, had cirrhosis
You
of the
expect me to
liver.
put on these pants? Flip, flip.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he had cirrhosis of the liver too from all the Seagram Sevens.
Ugh.
So,
Another reason not to drink Seagrams. This episode is
yes.
brought to you by Seagrams. Taste the disappointment. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like
That's a new
toothpaste,
one.
but carbonated.
Yeah.
Um,
you know? Well, so instead of life in prison, which
Seagrams.
he should have gotten, they gave him 15 years of probation outside of jail in his home.
Mean, did you see him? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Basically, a slap on the wrist for the cold blooded murder he
I'm gonna
basically
be
did.
honest. He was born in prison. But like
Yeah, he was.
that's the thing though about lobsters is first off, it's I'm fairly certain it's
They made for
impossible.
life. They made for life. We have to cut that
Well,
off.
that's hard to tell because we don't actually know how old lobsters are. They just keep fucking growing. They
Hmm.
basically do the lobster. It's like the monster mash, but it's a lobster mash. They just like they molt into a new hard shell. They're bugs. They're fucking bugs. And
Don't they
sometimes
not
they get,
die? They just get too big.
as far as I know, from my very expert
Hmm.
college level understanding.
Of lobsters.
And by that I mean fell asleep watching a YouTube short one time.
No, he picked
So
out
you
his
can trust
lobster
this. You can
in
trust this.
lobster at the
No, they.
Red
I,
Lobster.
I'm fairly sure scientists. I didn't say which scientists, but scientists, a group of
Some
scientists,
scientists.
have no clue how old lobsters are. There's
Yeah.
no way to tell. I know that like blue lobsters are like kind of a big fucking deal, and if you're in Maine and shit, they have to like throw them back, and there's like a whole
Hmm.
ceremonial process, like no touchy. Y-
Mm-hmm.
But like as a whole, like lobsters are anomalies.
Yeah.
They're just kind of like out there. You know, they're kind of like what is
Yeah.
it? Like the Icelandic shark or the is that right? The Greenland shark? No, I think it
I
I don't
got
know.
no
One of
idea
those
what you're talking
fucking
about.
cold ass places. You don't know about the fucking the ancient shark still
Nope.
alive?
Nope.
The whole species of them? I'm pretty
Nope.
sure it's the Greenland shark. Now that I think about it. Greenland shark gets so fucking old that like literally just like loses its eyesight and just has fucking parasites, like little cooked spaghetti hanging out of its eyes, and it just
Hmm.
lives in like the coldest fucking darkest regions, and it's like I've been
Yeah.
around since before and just like
Yeah.
swims
Before the
around.
before. Yeah.
Greenland shark, cool as fuck, ancient as fuck. It's really hard to date them, mainly because they don't get cell phone reception that low
They
down
don't
there.
text. They're not good at texting back. Yeah, yeah. That was real bad.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no,
And their
nobody
eyesight's
cared for
very
that part.
tender, so they very.
Mm,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
mm.
And it's crazy because they mumble. It's a little.
90% of mumble rappers are
Mm-hmm.
Greenland sharks.
Yeah. Proven. Well, obviously, after these two big shotgun blasts, they got divorced. And Barbara and him got divorced. But in what would be another real weird turn of events, he then remarried his first wife after she had left the world's smallest man and came back to the lobster boy. Exactly. Well,
Sorry, I'm just
they
getting some
married again in 1989, and not too long after that, the beatings began again, and he was just
Aww.
as abusive as before. He hadn't
Sad for
changed.
everyone.
Mary Teresa did say that he, at the beginning, said he would quit drinking and gave him all the normal stuff, and I'll be a good person again, and she fell for it again. Well, in one
Hmm.
instance, Mary Teresa said that she woke up to him trying to smother her with a pillow. And then another time, she woke up with a knife to her throat. Mary Teresa decided enough was enough. She began
Hmm.
pondering what to do and hatched a plan. All the while, they were still out touring and performing on the road as the Lobster
Damn.
family. right? They were still doing all this.
Damn.
And at this time, Grady had actually bought some of his own touring carnivals and circuses. He was actually very wealthy. He started becoming really wealthy for this somebody that basically started growing up and traveling tours. Like we said, is making a lot of money. And Teresa and her oldest teenage son, Harry Glenn Newman III, contrived a plan. And this is going to be where the next turn comes. They hired a friend who lived next door to them and went to school with Newman. They paid him $1,500 to murder Grady. Well, pretty good pay.
Damn.
On
Yep.
November 29th, 1993, 19-year-old Chris Wyant, who lived next door to them, snuck into the house and hid in a back room, waiting for Grady to return home. Once Grady, doing who the fuck knows out wherever he's going, but once Grady had returned home and sat down to watch some TV, Chris Wyant snuck into the room and put two 32 caliber bullets, boom, boom, right into the brain of Grady, ending the Lobster Boy's life and probably one of the most
Damn.
highest earning sideshows ever.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Lobster Boy.
Mm.
Funny enough, remember how Lobster Boy, Grady, had actually pretty much gotten off from murder. Wyant, the person who murdered him with two bullets to the back of the head, was convicted of second-degree murder for the actual killing. And Harry, the son, who was considered the mastermind behind it, was convicted of first-degree murder and sent to life in prison. Mary Teresa, who said in her defense that my husband was going to kill my family. I believe that from the bottom of my heart, but I'm sorry this
Mhm.
happened. But my family is safe now. She said that during the court process, was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
Damn.
The only
All that for a
person,
lobster.
right? Yeah, the red lobster. Gil, I'm pretty sure that's where your knowledge from lobster comes from. Is you sitting there in the red lobster cage looking at it, at the red lobster, just being like, I want that one.
And I've never
Hmm.
even been to a red lobster. That is the
That's how
level
knowledgeable you are.
of professionalism you can expect here
Hmm.
at Black Lobster Report.
Yes, we are now combining ourselves with. You know what? I actually heard Red Lobster is making a comeback.
Really? They got over
Hmm.
the cheddar debacle? I just made that up. I don't know if there's a cheddar
Those cheddar
debacle, but I'm
biscuits.
making one. Yeah,
Those cheddar
those cheddar
biscuits.
biscuits. Yeah,
Hmm. Who wouldn't want those?
never had them.
Hmm.
I'm not a huge seafood person. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. I'm not either.
I'm
I
not.
do like some Alaskan crab legs though. Alaskan king crab legs,
I don't like
snow
crab
crab
or
legs. I
lobster
will.
or shrimp.
I don't like
Scallops.
either of those though.
Scallops are kind of like the only like sea bug that I really care for.
No, thank you. No mussels.
I wasn't
No
offering.
fish. I'm good without fish. You like fish though.
I love fish. I fucking love salmon. Mm,
Hmm.
damn it, I love salmon.
Mm.
Salmon, tuna, swordfish, shark. Um, what else? Mahi mahi. Love it. But
Yeah.
that's
Now that the lobster boy has been cooked, we can head out into actually something that I really wanted to, I really wanted to end this on a good note because the other two, they both ended up murdered. So
maybe take a short break before then.
we can, yeah.
Marking this.
Hmm.
We'll be right back, y'all. Sorry about
Well,
the break, y'all.
howdy. Mm-hmm.
Had to go process my emotions about the life and the history of Lobster Boy.
Yeah. Poor Lobster Boy. Poor Lobster Boy's family. The Lobster family. I actually think one of them actually.
Seafood crustaceans.
I think one of them still performs to this day. Yeah, since it's been going through the family, you know
That genetic
condition.
anomaly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
genetic anomaly. Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Well, I wanted to end this off on a good note because so many times on our episodes end up with the person dying, and the person, just no good episodes. I feel like the last two, both of them
Never
died.
had a good.
You know, never had a good. The last two stories, both of them died at the end, and both of them died real quickly. Not too young, and they weren't happy. You know, Mike the Headless Chicken wasn't happy. 2 years of gargling,
Oh, yeah.
blood, was not happy, and the
Ah,
Lobster Boy was
that'll
drinking
do it.
Seagram 7 and got two
Hmm.
bullets in the back of his brain. So this was billed as the strangest romance in circus history. In the last
Oh,
story,
I'm
the
here for
marriage didn't
this.
turn out too well at all. But in this story, we're going to talk about a circus sideshow marriage that turned out to be the best of us. And I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but I'm not even going to name the show, but I don't know if you've seen it.
I haven't seen it.
This is us. Priscilla Roman, or the Monkey Girl, as she was known on stage, was born in Bayamon, Puerto Rico on April 26, 1911. She was known as the Monkey Girl, not because of just her full head of dark hair, but also because she had a layer of coarse dark hair covering her entire face and entire body. She also had two rows of teeth, adding into that like weird, that not weird, but that like different looking teeth to kind of make it look a little more monkey like. She
There'll be
was
pictures.
diagnosed. Yeah, yeah. She was diagnosed as having a genetic condition and there was no cure. She was eventually diagnosed with hypertrichosis, which to this day still has no cure.
Hmm.
It's just basically covered in hair, pretty much. And the
Yeah.
only thing you can do is just
She
shave
almost
it.
she almost looked like two partially inflated basketballs shoved into
He's just going to use that description for everything from now on.
everything. You know how long it
hmm
took me to come up with that? I need to get as
It
much
was
mileage out of this as possible.
it was such a good one. Well, because of all the trips to the doctor to kind of diagnose her, Priscilla's family was broke and in need of money. They agreed to let
Hmm.
her be in an exhibition at 3 years old. So young.
Damn, that's
Yeah.
rough.
She started performing. Just talk about I was going to say talk about a Nepo baby, but no, just talk about a used kid.
No,
Yeah, just
no,
talk
this
about a
is worse than
used
Macaulay
kid.
Culkin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
this is
she was
Macaulay Culkin. Um,
She was performing in the show owned by Carl L. Lothier, who ended up actually adopting Priscilla after her father passed away when she was 6 years old. So,
shit, I
honestly,
meant macaque. Anyways,
it's yeah. Well,
sorry, Joey. We need to run it all the way back.
we need to start over again. Well,
Macaque Calkin. That's what I meant to say.
mhm,
Macaw is a bird.
mm. Well,
I'm from Ohio.
it's the excuse. Yeah. Toledo Torpedo. They were very good parents for the most part because they hired tutors to teach her, hired people to
Mhm.
show her how to dance and such, and they basically wanted to give her the best. Even though
Yeah,
she had this, genetic condition that caused her to have hair everywhere and second row of teeth. Well, when
yeah.
Priscilla complained of being bored and lonely, her family bought her a pet, a
It
chimpanzee.
was Lobster Boy. No.
They bought her a chimpanzee.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this was kind of a backhanded thing, honestly, because they were calling her
Oh,
Monkey
yeah,
Girl
that's pretty
or
rough.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pretty bad joke, but they did love her daughter. So this wasn't,
We got you
she
a
performed
boyfriend.
with the
Yeah.
chimpanzee too. So it was kind of like a thing they just kind of added to the whole show.
Huh. But
Yeah.
this is back when, I mean, because this was acceptable until like honestly yours and mine's lifetime. This was still acceptable
Yeah.
to own a pet chimpanzee or a
Oh yeah.
monkey or
I
whatever. Like
still
it's
think it was
been
acceptable. Well, not acceptable because all, but
15, 20 years ago, like pretty much like Michael Jackson kind of like rode that chimp out of
that
style.
that was the
Like
end.
that
Yeah.
bubble
Yeah. Yeah.
popped with bubbles, you know. And
It really
like
did.
but I even in the 90s it was still like, oh, some rich motherfucker with a chimpanzee that just wears a diaper running around, this is
Yeah.
normal. You know,
Yeah.
now it's like this is really fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Also
That
your head's going to
chimpanzee
get
don't
ripped
belong
off,
there.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're gonna rip
Like
off your face. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Like, you
Do
think
you like
cats are
having
bad when
skin?
you miss
Yeah.
dinner? Bro.
Yeah. Do you like skin?
Yeah.
Don't get a chimpanzee if you do. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, with the chimpanzee, she performed throughout the 1920s and 1930s, billed as the monkey girl with her pet chimpanzee. She got even more famous, and this kind of goes into one of our other stories, during the Scopes trial about evolution, which is funny enough because from our last
Mm,
story with John R. Brinkley, his arch nemesis played a part in that trial. He played actually a huge part in that trial. He was helping to knew the lawyer, was working on both sides, and was like talking to each of them. It was very interesting. So
mm.
kind of touches that trial. One part of her show One part of her show during this time was that she would have a mock debate with an orangutan named Spooky. Oh, sorry. With an orangutan named Snooky. Priscilla represented the pro
Snooky, who
evolution.
is from Jersey Shore, New
Yeah,
Jersey.
yeah, you
Oh
know?
my God.
Mhm.
I thought you
Evolution.
said there'd be lobster here. Perfect. What?
Perfect. There's my
I can't
boy.
not think of Snooky from specific, not from Jersey Shore, but from South Park.
Oh, yeah.
Snooky.
Yeah, that's Snooky. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's Snooky version.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
This is a Snooky shout out. Also, fun fact, and this
mhm.
actually made me give respect for Snooky. I'm taking this. I'm running with it.
Go ahead.
Snooky. This might bring us down a few points, but fuck it, I don't care. It's actually legit. I heard a fascinating interview with Snooky about their belief in UFOs and aliens and how they had their own personal experiences. And it was nice to hear them off camera, still behind a mic, but
Hmm.
off camera and kind of talking on like this like pretty, I would say, niche and nerdy, like down and dirty, but really
Yeah.
good podcast. So if you want to hear some crazy shit, y'all should go look up Snooky talking about aliens. Snooky is a huge Snooky, come on the show. She's never
She
coming on.
will not. No.
She's
No.
never coming on, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that was our Jersey Shore moment. But
Okay. Yeah. That was the situation. Well, one
Joey's like
part of her
mark
show
and delete later.
deleting. Yeah. I'm not deleting that in the video. I'm deleting that in my brain. So, yes. Two bullets to the skull. One part of her
Just
show during
got cut at a certain
and
angle.
cutting off the half that I don't need to live. Well, one part of her show during this time was that she would have the mock debate with the orangutan named Snooky. Priscilla represented the pro evolution side, and Snooky argued against it, apparently. But it's also not known who won the argument.
It was in court, and they don't know who won the argument.
It was a mock debate on on a stage. They were messing around.
That is weird, but I like it.
Okay. Yeah.
We are talking like circus sideshows, so it's okay that it's weird.
Yes.
This is normal.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It has to be weird.
yeah,
And this is this,
yeah.
but it's going on at,
It'd be
like, they're
weird if it
doing this
wasn't.
at the same time of the trial. That's why it's so
Oh, okay.
big, is because the Scopes trial was happening and they used this. They used the monkey girl, they used Priscilla, and then they used an orangutan to kind of jokingly poke fun at the trial. And that's why they were doing it, is because everybody at this time knew about this trial. And then they were like, let's
Yeah.
go see. now that we've watched the trial, we got there and went and watched trial. Let's go see a monkey and a monkey girl like argue about evolution and pro and anti-evolution.
I think the monkey won.
I think the monkey won.
He just like picked up a rock and just knocked her
And
the fuck out. And
smash the
they're
monkey
like,
girl out.
technically, by law, he just won.
By monkey law. Well, you never know. We don't know monkey law. We don't know monkey law. Gill's lobster law, though. Well, in 1936, she was traveling with Johnny J. Jones, Triple J, Exposition's Oddities of the 20th Century show, when she would meet the love of her life.
My name's
Mm-hmm.
J3.
Mm-hmm. Johnny J. Jones. I don't.
J3. His
J3.
name's
Yep.
J3. Yeah.
Pretty famous back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s.
J3 was huge. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why, but J3.
He had expositions. Um, but there, at that place, she met the love of her life, Emmett Bejano, known as Lobella, the alligator boy. Yep. The
Flower
weirdest.
alligator? What?
The alligator boy. Lobella, the alligator boy.
Yeah, the Bella is a flower genus. That's a very that's a cool name. I
Mm-hmm.
will 100% give credit. Like that's a very
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's a very cool name. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I got nothing to say. But yeah,
I like his name too. Well, Emmett Bejano, Bejano, I think it's Bejano. Born as Emmett Driggers. Yeah,
sure.
it's definitely Bejano. If it was born as Emmett Driggers. Was born in Punta Gorda, Florida, and born in Florida on August 23rd, 1914. His parents divorced at around 6 years old, and his father put him in an exhibition with Johnny Bejano of Morris Castle shows. And just like with Priscilla, when Emmett's father died, Johnny Bejano adopted him, and that's how he got the last name the from the person who ran the sideshow act. Emmett had Lemarlo. Hmm, sorry, I'm apologizing ahead of time. Emmett had Lemelar ichthyosis, which is a hereditary condition that causes thickening and cracking of the skin. It itself shows kind of like reptilian scales, hence the name
Mm,
alligator boy. Again, just like with Priscilla, there is no cure for this, though
yeah.
there were some remedies. He would
Lotion.
constantly oil his face and hands so that the skin would soften out for a little bit. So he's just constantly oiling himself up.
That's
And he
horrible.
would do that and wear really long sleeve shirts and like very big collared shirts. I feel like he was a big turtleneck guy just to hide it so people wouldn't notice
In
like weird
Florida.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Florida, right? Yeah.
This is this is psoriasis times 10,000. That's what it
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
like.
It is.
Yeah.
It's real bad.
It's
And
horrible.
while you're watching, I'll put up photos of this stuff of these two, so you get to see everybody. But during his shows or after his shows, he would have to be dipped in ice bath. After his shows, he would have to be dipped in ice baths due to his skin not being able to sweat like everybody else's to cool down because of the cracked skin. It was so tight and like caught up against his body, he couldn't
Ah,
sweat. So he had to be dipped in ice baths, or else, he would overheat. It would get real bad.
ouch, dude. Yeah.
He was a poor guy. Poor guy,
Yeah.
honestly. Like these two are great people, so I'm just ruining
Poor
it
guy
for you. They're
without
great people,
pores.
nothing bad.
This is
Yeah.
horrible. Yeah.
Well, when Emmett and Priscilla met, they felt an instant attraction, and with their very, very, very similar histories, they
Oh.
eloped just after a few months. I know it's so
Hell
heartwarming.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hope.
And in
So here for
January,
this.
I know I'm too, and so I wanted to end it on this. In January of 1938, they eloped. They had tried to have a child in 1939, but unfortunately, their child Francina passed away at 14 weeks due to
Oh,
pneumonia. I know it was one of the bad parts. It was so sad,
didn't see
but
that coming.
I know they returned to the stage in 1945. What's funny enough is it the child passed away not because of either of their two genetic conditions. It just died of pneumonia, and it didn't have either of their conditions, which is
Hmm.
great. Well, They did eventually return to the stage in 1945 with Ripley's Believe It or Not tour, donned as the
Yeah.
world's strangest married couple. So they are out there
So
strutting their
cute.
stuff together. Yeah,
So
yeah.
cute.
Yeah, yeah.
How do we, Joey? You've inspired me. I'm taking a moment. I'm
Hmm.
taking the mic.
Take it. Take
Um,
it.
I'm taking the mic. So, if anybody, and this counts if you're listening to right now, if you're a member of the circus, if you're a member of a freak show, anything like that, hit us up. We will give you full access privilege to everything in our Patreon because
Hmm.
we tout Art Bell all the fucking time as kind of
Hmm.
like the godfather of paranormal podcasting, right? Kind of running that shit before podcasts even existed.
Hmm.
But honestly, the freak shows, the circuses, the side shows, um,
Hmm.
this has always been a part of human of being a human is loving these types of things, and
Hmm.
y'all are keeping that dream alive. So hit us up at
Thank you.
some point in the
Yeah.
future. Just be like, hey, you don't even gotta give us your name. We just need your email. We will hook
Yep.
you up full access just
Thank you
for keeping this weird ass dream alive. Anyways, Joey,
for being
you
you.
left me inspired. I'm sorry, I had to take that. I had to take
I
that.
love it. No, I'm glad.
Feeling inspired over here. I
We
love
want to
that
say,
shit.
and just like we say to everybody, thank you for being you. Thank
I
you.
know we already have a few members of the freak show, right? We already have a few freak show members here, if I
Me and you.
recall correctly.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that is that not right?
No, that is not right.
That's not right.
He
All right,
always
that would
tries.
have been a good
Yeah,
lead up. That would have
that
been
would
a
have been
good
a good
lead
one.
up.
I'll
It would
switch
have
that
been a
over
good
to the
lead up.
next part.
This is what
Yeah, yeah.
happens
You,
when
just
you
say
get
it
it
again.
live.
Say it again later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You get the
Okay,
messed
gotcha,
ups.
gotcha,
You get to say it again later. Yeah.
gotcha.
What I want to
All
say
the
is what is
awkwardness.
awesome is that of course they both got the normal people that would make fun of them, do names on them, but Priscilla would always respond in the same way.
Hmm.
I can see you for nothing right here, but you had to pay to see me. Boom.
Oh,
Hmm.
damn! Oh, I
Yeah, I was
love it.
like, dang, hell
I
yeah,
love
Priscilla.
it.
Dude, she's the badass too. If you listen to her talk, because there's some stuff about her talking and like a lot of quotes from her, she's
Mhm.
just like, I didn't care. I was living a good life and making money. I don't
Yeah.
give a fuck. I may, and she would say, I may look a little strange to the normal person, but what does that bother me? I'm still living a good life. And I was like, oh man, she's got it figured
Hell
out.
yeah. Hell
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Full respect.
Mm-hmm. Always be yourself. Well,
There we go.
throughout the 1950s and 1960s, they performed with Ripley's Believe It or Not and eventually bought a home in Gibsonton, Florida, which is literally where all of these people lived in this story except for the chicken. They were all the carnival and circus people retire and like live in this one town in Florida, Gibsonton. And if you really look it up, you'll start seeing this is where they like live and during the off
Yeah.
season and where like they when they retire, they all go here.
Okay.
They eventually adopted a son named Tony in the 1960s
Aw.
and then named their property the PET Ranch for Priscilla, Emmett, and Tony. They were just living this great life.
Aw.
They both,
Cute.
I know, they both
So cute.
retired from performing in the
God. Yeah.
1980s to their property in Gibsonton, Florida. They actually were one of the few people, like few sideshow performers that actually got to retire and just live out their normal life. They
So
did
cute.
actually also
Love
star
it.
in a few TV shows and movies, which is kind of cool. They notably starred alongside Jodie Foster and Gary Busey in the 1980 film Carney,
That makes sense.
which makes sense. Yeah, it just makes a lot of sense.
90% of the film was just Gary Busey like,
He- Gary Busey was the real Carney in that film. I think he didn't even need to go on a
yes.
sideshow. Yeah. Well, to end it,
Yeah.
they both passed away peacefully. Emmett in 1995 and then Priscilla in 2001. And again, I wanted to end our episode with just this beautiful story, heartfelt story, because I feel like in a lot of other ones, we talk about some terrible people, and we're happy when they died. But I was very sad that they died. They died peacefully and they loved each other. And they For so much, they talked about how much they loved each other and how much amazing it was to live together. And so, the circus or carnival marriage, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
was beautiful. And you know what? I'm here for it.
Mm. Me too, bud.
I'm here for it.
Fan fucking tastic. I hope we can all find a love so freakish as theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what?
Mm.
I'm ready.
I think we have another story left. And the other story is about another freak. Actually, it's a handful of freaks.
Yep. And
Hold on. Why did the volume go out? Okay.
I have no idea.
I don't. We'll figure this out.
We'll
There
just
we
figure it out.
go. All
Well,
the
thank you
awkwardness.
so much for listening to the Black Cat Report and to tuning into us here. Coming up this weekend, you can tune into us with Beer, Booze, and Boogeyman on May 3rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with the episode on Deathbed Confessions. Gil, hit him up with the info after you're done crabbing and lobstering over there. He just lobstered off the screen, so I'm going to give you the info. You can find it at literally ghost.beer. You can send in anything. You can do it anonymously. You can send it up. Gil is done. He's crabbing everywhere. And also releasing on Sunday, April 4th at 10 a.m. May the 4th. And also releasing on May 4th at 10 a.m. May the 4th be with you is the Cup of Joey on Patreon. So sign up to get some extra content you can't find anywhere else but on Patreon. Patreon.com/BlackCatReport. And now, Gil and I want to especially thank our Patreon listeners and our special circus carnival freaks out there and all the ways and all the things that you do. We would like to thank Tristan, Bud, Don, Thomas, Little Mister, Bobby, Betsbeck, Lucas, Tim, Dee, Max, Ian, Morgan, Dragon Paul from the Star Blood Carnival Podcast, Tim Miller from Miller's Monsters, Marissa, Gavin, fearless leader of the chicken cult, Rachel, Ab, Jaden, Jackie, Yellow Bear, Dwayne, aka Snatchful, Alyssa, Bree, Michael Extreme, Kristen from the Paranormal Podcast, James, and most importantly, of course, gotta break the time for this one, our sexiest producer.
Guppy Kitty.
Thank you all, and hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, evening.
We love you all.
Bye. Gil's is gonna keep dancing.